What is up, YouTube? It is Nameless here, bringing you yet another review. Today we're going to talk about my 1 week review with the iPhone XS. It's pretty interesting. It's some things that I want to go over and talk about, and it's a lot of likes, it's a lot of dislikes. We'll get into it right after this.
That's my best friend.
So it's been officially 1 week with the phone. I'm still enjoying the phone. Again, I'm one of the individuals that are just coming off of Android and switching over to the iPhone 7 Plus for about the last 3 or 4 weeks because I knew the iPhone XS was going to be coming out and wanted to check that out. My previous phone was the Note before I switched to the iPhone 7 Plus. And I'm pretty much going to just kind of be comparing it to that. And I already knew what the specs was going into the Note 9, even though I didn't pick it up. I wanted to try Apple out again this year and just see what changed. So we're going to get into a couple things that I actually do like about the iPhone after a week. And I could kind of say that it's a little bit better on this particular model. So number one would have to be the camera. The camera is really, really nice. I've been very, very pleased with this camera on the XS or the XS. It's been very, very sharp, very precise, super quick. I do like the super HDR features on it. And if you guys don't know what the super HDR features are, they're pretty much a feature where you take a snapshot or you take a picture and it will take a series of maybe 6 to 7 photos and stitch them all together to compile one good, precise, crisp image, so it's looking at low light pictures and if you were actually dealing with a DSLR, that's called bracketing, but it's one of those things where it's basically taking multiple photos, stitching them together and making one awesome photo. It's actually really, really good. Number two would have to be, I went with the XS. I wanted to try a smaller phone out. To be honest with you guys, the XS has been the ideal size phone. I mean, all the phones out there are getting so much bigger, but we're getting away from one-hand navigation. You will definitely, whether it be the XS Max, whether it be the Note, whether it be the up-and-coming Pixel 3 XL, these phones are getting bigger, and you will have to readjust your hands to start doing things. Again, one of the reasons why I bought the XS this year is simply because if I would have went with the XS Max, I feel that swiping from the top right or the left, depending on where you want your notifications or your action control center, I feel that those features will be very, very hard to reach, not unless you enable reachability in there and actually navigate to them. So maneuvering this phone with one hand, and it just makes you more productive. It makes swiping through things quicker. It's not as bulky. I can put it in my front pocket. I haven't had a phone in my front pocket in quite some time. And that was one of the reasons why I picked this one. So the size of the XS, I didn't feel like I lost out on the screen resolution or the screen surface. It's just more of actually having a phone that actually is ideal for your hands, or just I mean, even people that have bigger hands, some people I even know they still just have to reach a lot. You just can't. This phone is, I mean, your thumb is only but so long, and you still have to reach from the top of the screens until they bring notifications from the bottom up. You're still going to be reaching at the top of the screen. And that's just to be honest with you. I mean, people can complain or say whatever they want to say about that, but that's just the honest truth. Number three would be the battery life. I mean, as a person that uses the phone, I'm averaging anywhere between 5 and 6 hours of screen on time a day. And I mean, this phone pretty much stays on me all the time, whether it's text messages, whether it's Instagram posts, whether it's just recording stuff at the gym or just anything. This phone is on a lot. And for me to constantly, without putting on a charger, make it through the whole day and still have like 30% left, that's pretty impressive. And, that was one of my things where it was when you had an Android device, no shots at Android. I mean, I love their phones, and granted, they're getting better. But the operating system is so dialed in that you can feel confident knowing that, okay, I'm going to have all day battery life. I mean, watching YouTube videos or playing a video game, it just handles it. It just does what it needs to do, and you still have battery life. I mean, I have not yet. Maybe once I may have killed the whole battery, and it's been a challenge. Maybe I was probably approaching my second day with it, but the battery life has been pretty spectacular. The speed of the phone it's crazy. Like it's really, really good. I really praise Apple for this because, like I said, their operating system is pretty simple. Doesn't have a lot of bloatware and lag and a whole bunch of stuff, moving parts in the background. And the speed of the phone, whether it's just navigating through things, I mean, it's just so snappy, and it's just like you click on an app, it's loading. You close an app, it's closed. You go to another app, or you navigating through. Granted, it doesn't have multitasking or split screening as Android does, but I mean, just the fact that it's seconds, or not even seconds, just milliseconds away from you just clicking the app and just going into the next one, it's pretty impressive, and it's definitely been a good feeling to have coming from a device. It's one of those things where even with the iPhone 7 Plus, it was still pretty quick, even when you got the iOS 12 update, it was very snappy, and I mean, that's what, 3 models ago. So it's one of those things where you feel confident that your device is not going to be outdated in the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, and you're still going to have that snappiness to it, if Apple continues to stay on this path where they do enhancements and stuff to their iOS updates. The last one is video quality. Video quality has been really awesome. So you have the 2 dual 12 megapixel lenses that's on the back with image optical stabilization, and the 4K, if you set it to that, the 4K video recording is just really, really good, and it's a good feature that they added in stereo this year instead of the mono playback, so you actually are getting stereo sound from when you're doing video recording. Okay, so now that we got all the information that I like, what are the likes about that I like about the XS, let's talk about the things that I don't like about the XS. They're just personal preferences, and it's just things I just wanted to kind of touch on, and maybe you agree with it. If so, you leave those comments in below. Now we can talk about them, we can answer those. One of the issues I have is closing all apps out. So basically, when you want to close out an app, now they allow you to slide cards away and actually have to long press on an application that you have open and bring up the little minus symbol and swipe it away. Now you can just swipe them away. But one thing I think that they should add in is just force close all apps. Like, I don't understand it. Like, you can close multiple apps if you use 1 or 2 fingers, but there should be a dedicated button just to close all the apps out in the background. Hopefully that's something they can work on. It's just something that irritates me a lot, and I figure, especially since that's on pretty much all Android devices, to close out all the background applications, I figure it's just an enhancement that they can, do for our software and just close out all the applications. That's something that they can work with. The second thing would be the issues with the wireless. I've been doing multiple speed tests on my device, especially since I've been reading about it, and I've been experiencing some issues, especially just over wireless. Me personally, in my household, I have about 175 megabits per second download, not matching upload, but that's beside the fact. When I do multiple speed tests on this device, I have not seen anything over 50 or 60 megabits per second download, which is an issue, because I can go to my tablets, whether it be iPad or whether it be my MacBook, and actually do a speed test and render faster speeds than I can on the XS. And these antennas that's in here are supposed to be forward compatible with 5G, so you would think that these antennas would be a lot more powerful, have more of a band spectrum, and allow you to see faster speeds. I'm not seeing that at all. And after reading a couple forums and stuff, a lot of people are complaining about that, and it's just something that I figure, if you didn't have this issue last year, what actually did you change in your device to actually cause these issues to happen this year? When you're over LTE, it seems to work fine, so the antennas must be operating obviously on it's a different antenna or a different modem that's inside, but basically I'm having issues with wireless, and I want to know if anyone else is out there, and if so, leave that in the comment section below. My third issue is selfie saturation. Most people are going and they're calling it beauty gate, or just basically just a overly smooth image that they're creating in the selfie mode portion of the camera. So in your portrait modes, or just if you're using a front facing camera, if you take a picture, it's basically adding a rosy tint or rosy color. Just, it seems like they're up in saturation in your face. And it's not only is it clearing blemishes and stuff like that, which, hey, I mean, who complains about that? I mean, everybody wants to look a little bit better, but when it's adding rose color, or it's adding like almost looking like you have blush on your face, that's an issue. Like, you know what I mean? Especially if that's not the true tone of your skin. So me personally, I've been seeing where I've looked a little orange, or, you know, had looked like I was red. It's something I figure out hopefully they can fix with some software, or just dial back, you know, some of the saturations or whatever they have spec'd out in the front facing camera. Hopefully that's something they can actually fix with a software update. But yeah, right now it's kind of irritating to me. And yeah, I wouldn't mind having that change. So the fourth one would be randomly closing apps. I don't know if it's just because it's, again, iOS 12, and every application is not actually up to date to support iOS 12 as of yet, but I've had issues where I would open YouTube and the application would just freeze. I had issues where my device would just randomly just restart. Now, I'm not, in their defense, it's only happened about once or twice in the week. I'm not going to say it's an issue per se, because it doesn't happen consistently. And it could have just been something like a forced close, but a whole restart of the devices is something that I haven't experienced, you know, on any iPhone that I've owned prior before. So hopefully they can get that fixed out, or worked out, you know, or patched. My last one would be Siri Shortcuts. Like, Siri Shortcuts is something I had high hopes for. Like, Siri Shortcuts is one of those cool things that allow you to manipulate your phone to do certain things that you want to do with one key command. Like, you know, whether it be, you know, you say, I'm on my way home, and it'll basically go in and turn on your lights and set the thermostat to a certain temperature and tell you, you know, traffic on the way home and stuff like that, all from one command. That's cool, but it doesn't work like that. And I feel that you have to be almost a coder to actually learn how to use this. I mean, you have to actually, to build it out, it's very, very challenging. It's very time consuming, and it's not Apple's way of doing things. Like, I don't know if they could have just held off and waited on that, but it's not like as simple as just saying, okay, I want to pick this and put this here and pick this and put that there, when they actually displayed in their keynote. You got to remember, people that get iPhones, they're not really looking for a challenging experience. And I think that Siri Shortcuts is a challenging experience for anyone that wants to use it. So you're basically telling these users that you have the capability of doing all this type of stuff, but your own, to personalize your own, you're going to have to put a lot of time into it. And that's just not Apple's way of doing things. And it was kind of like a disappointment, because I had very, very high hopes for it. But it feels like it was rushed, and it feels like you have to put too much time and logic into it, and it doesn't have that simple feel that Apple's known to always display and always give out. Okay, so enough said with that. Again, I'm not bashing Apple, or I'm not, you know, doubting any of their capabilities of this phone. I think that the phone itself is an awesome phone. I think that the phone has so much potential. It has so much great features in it of this year. You know, just the color alone. If you haven't seen it, look at my previous video. I'll link it in the description below. That basically says if this phone's worth $1,000. You know, and I can honestly say that compared to all the other phones that's out there on the market now, I would say just keep your options open, or even if you wanted to save the extra money, buy the 10 if you can still find them. But you can't find that in the Apple Store now because they pulled it off the website. But since I didn't have the option to go to the 10, I went to the 10s, and I still like it. I mean, it's just that, I mean, $1,000 is quite a bit, especially looking at other options that's out there. that said, that's my initial review, 1 week review with the iPhone XS. Again, if you like the content, be sure to smash that like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to smash that subscribe button. It'll help the channel out a lot. I'm going to continue to bring even better content in the future, but until then, see you guys. Thank you.